All right, welcome to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. So, one of the um, trying to find the right word here. Uh, one of the horrific things about being a TI is the constant surveillance, right? Wherever you go, whether you go to the bathroom to take a piss, to take a shit, you know, police are there. Whether you're in your bed, uh, doing whatever, police are there. How? Use the sirens. You'll get used to it. Okay, it's not you don't get comfortable with it, but you'll get used to it because there's nothing you can do. All right, to stop them from again, monitoring your not just your online activity, but your activity in your house or wherever you're at. They're there with the sirens, stuff like that. So I'm watching a video, and this is a video of this guy showing you how to wash a car, what have you, right? And he said, if you don't have a pressure gun, use a foam gun, right? And as soon as he said foam gun, again, you hear the noise campaign, right? Either a siren or a car honk, right? So why didn't they use the sirens or the um, car honking when he said pressure gun, but they use it when he said foam gun. I'm sorry, foam gun. Right. So again, when you see this is happening, it is because again they have conditioned you, right? Which means that they have placed certain things, words, phrases, uh, whatever, in your subconscious mind. Okay. This is how brainwashing works for the most part, where particularly if it's done using dark NLP, which is also triggers and anchors, right? So they can use that to, with NLP, you can use that to elicit a negative emotional response, particularly dark NLP, right? Or what they call dark NLP. It's to trigger emotional response, to trigger a negative way of thinking, negative thought pattern to get you to engage in a negative action that will be detrimental to you and someone else or people, right? Again, this is what like I said, I've been studying this, uh, trying to expose what it is that they've done, and how also before you become a target individual, right? Illegal microchipping, and particularly in my case, back when I was younger, you know, um, and I said to myself, well, what's the reason why they're doing this also? So it's not just for just illegal experimentation, all right, and uh, in terms of the development of certain technologies that uses weaponize, such as microwave and radio wave frequency, which we know, they've been decades, okay, well over 50 years of research and development in the field of using these technologies, right? So, like I said, it's for people who don't know, it's they don't think about it. They just believe what the government tell them. We see with the diplomats in Cuba, we see that their physicians, their neurologists speaking about the damages that they've suffered. They've had special MRIs done, right, and that shows that they had suffered severe brain damage, particularly to the white matter and also the gray matter, right, of the brain, part of the brain. So with the white matter, that damage signifies if you look within at sorry, let me get my hands out of the way again. If if I find myself using my hands too much when I'm talking, particularly, and then put it in front of the phone so it can show. Uh, I know that I'm being conditioned to do that. Okay, because normally I don't do that. I've always been consciously aware of not to do that because again, hand signals is what they use against us as TIs, right? To trigger us. That's one of the things. And so, when I start to see myself using my hands too much, I got to become conscious of it and prevent myself from doing that. Just hold on a sec. I am going to read about concussions. All right. Well, all right. Okay. So the diplomats in Cuba, all of them, not just in Cuba, but even back in 1968 through the late well into the actually even the 80s, right? These diplomats that were stationed in Russia, when Russia was irradiating the American embassy, these diplomats suffered traumatic brain injury. Not only that, they also suffered psychological uh, issues as well, psychological damage, as well as biological also. Okay, but I'm just going to talk about the psychological and the neurological damage. So this is you can find this on PubMed. Again, this is a medical site. It's the National Library of Medicine, right? Where you can get all these information. So National Center for Biotechnology Information. Okay, traumatic brain injury, TBI, is the leading cause of disability and produces a wide range of cognitive, emotional, and physical consequences, right? The impact on TBI on cognitive is among the most important question in this field, but remains incompletely understood. The immediate cognitive effect of concussions, again, concussions, right? Which all these diplomats, they had damage to the white matter that is consistent with having concussions to the point where they suffer severe traumatic brain injury, meaning that when they were hit with these weapons, right, it's like being hit with blunt force to the head. That's why football players, when they suffer too many concussions, as they get older, it affects their memory, their emotions. They suffer from PTSD, a whole host of not just neurological issue, but psychological issue as well. Okay, and like I said, no matter how much they may try to undo the damage, they can't undo the damage, and they know that. But because of, again, they don't want to be held responsible or have any accountability. As I said, this is the difference between the dark tribe personality types who are in power and everybody else, because they want you to accept and have accountability for things that you do, though they're the ones that are doing things to make you do things to which they want you to have accept accountability. This is the game that they play with our lives, right? So non-consensual illegal experimentation, illegal microchipping. Okay. Now within the black community, I've been trying to educate black people on this, right? For decades, our community, the community that we live in, has been poisoned, not just through lead, but through pesticides, chemicals used in pesticides, where you will find, particularly in black communities, within, if you go and get a lab result, we have at least 4 to 6 times higher, pharmaceutical agents, right? Like Roundup, which is like the number one cause of cancer. Okay, so when people get cancer, they're not, the doctors are like, your family have a history of cancer. They never look at the fact that it could be because of, pesticides such as Roundup. But again, it is done on purpose. They are deliberately ignoring these things. Deliberately. Okay, because you remember, an American system is not a healthcare system. It is a sick care system. Okay? They're not trying to cure you of anything. They want to keep you sick. That way you can buy the medicine, you can pay for the treatment, buy the medicine, all this stuff. It is a scam. Okay, when I talk about the mothers of all scam, I talk about this particularly. Go read the book How White People Got So Rich. I forgot the author's name. I can never remember uh, the author's name in a lot of books I read. Most of them, I would say. I remember just a few. Okay, and if I remember the author, I can't remember the books. You know, But anyhow, you go and read that book, and you see, but particularly within us as black people, Negropean people, right? Not me. I'm not a Negropean. I'm a black person. Used to be a Negropean. Okay. As a black person, I have a more Pan African way of thinking. Where I put black first. I'm not saying anybody else doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that everybody else put their group first, except for us. We put other people group first and then us. Like we feel like when we jump on other people bandwagon, okay, while they get upwards mobility, where they get the financial um, incentive, right? But then when it comes to us, no one jumps on our bandwagon and say, okay, let me support what you know these black people are doing. No, they don't do that. So that's why to be black, you need to have an Afrocentric way of thinking. If you don't, and particularly if you're in religion, whether it be Christianity or Islam, um, but again, let me take out Islam for now, okay? Because at least, particularly, I should say, let me just say this. Well, the Nation is of Islam. If there's ever a religious organization I would join, it would be them. Okay. Anyhow, let me go back now. So they don't tell you all these things, right? They don't tell you how um, this system, right, creates victims, right? And they'll like to tell you, oh, don't have the victim mentality, right? But then they get robbed, and then it's like, oh, I'm a victim of a robbery, right? Well, black people in this country, nigger people in this country, we are victims of robbery. We're victims of murder. We're victims of discrimination. We are victims of sabotage. But yet they'll tell us don't have the victim mentality. This is how they do. Where every other group, they all claim victimhood because within the victimhood, guess what? You can sue. You can file grievance. You can, again, if you see yourself as victims, then you will fight more for reparation. But because you don't see yourself a victim, this is why you have people who come out, people that look like you and I, will come out and be against reparations for those people. Okay? So, back to traumatic brain injury, right? So, um, the immediate cognitive effect of concussion, while usually short lived, may be profound and lasting in some individuals. And long term sequelae, if I'm pronouncing that right, of TBI may induce dementia of several varieties, including post traumatic leukoencephalopathy. I don't know. Anyway, but chronic traumatic encephalopathy incep can't even pronounce that. Anyway, and Alzheimer's disease. Okay. Uh, Again, and that's just the neurological effect of that, right? But there's also the psychological part of it, right? Where you develop uh, um, uh, paranoid delusion, all right? I forget the proper psychological term, right? Or even maybe even multiple personality disorder. Okay, I mean, again, so like when they try to, like I always say, when you know this information, when you see what happens to other TIs and including yourself, and then they want to try to say, oh well, we fix you, it's like, and they're very keen on this. And like I said, when the CIA has its hand in everything, everything. How? Because I've experienced it. Like whenever I'm playing a game, whatever game I'm playing, right? So they have agents in every aspect within society, every institution, every business, right? So the game, everything that including some influence, games, sports, movies, television, social media, they have their presence there, and it's a controlling presence. Okay, you hear the sirens. See that all morning? No, no, not sirens like that, but you hear it now in the background. But anyhow, so I know even in religion, man. I just was here's an article I was just reading about. Okay, um, this is from the website American Religion, right? And it talks about again the CIA, right? But like I said, if you need to go and read the CIA and the culture wars. Like I said, in today's black culture, black people didn't create this culture today. The CIA created the culture. Okay, so it says, is the CIA a religious institution, surveillance, and the security of capitalist Christian white supremacy? All right. I mean, this is one of the most, um, you know, amazing read that I've article I've read in a long time, and they talk about the. It says in an essay entitled "The Birth of Christianity and the Origin of Christian Anti-Judaism," right? About it says Paula Fredrickson offer an analysis of how the Gentile Christian appropriation of Jewish concepts, practices, and texts from the 4th century helped to bake a profound anti-Judaism into the very foundation of Christianity. Okay, and then it goes further, but you guys can read it. Like again, it's called "Is the CIA a religious institution, surveillance, and the security of capitalist Christian white supremacy?" Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on it because I tend to do that, and I recognize that. Whereas before I was be very concentrated. Now even though I I take supplements, all this stuff to help improve my memory, you know, but what they'll do, as you guys have seen in the past videos, is that whenever I order supplements, they will open up the seal, right? Or will send me supplements with no seal on it, no plastic seal on it, or no seal on the inside. When I've purchased supplements before, so when I like elderberry, I think elderberry, I used to take this product called NeuroHealth, right, which helps to help you with your cognitive, improve your cognitive abilities, right, or cognitive skills. Okay, vitamins. They want you taking that. Every time I go take my medicine for my headaches, they're using the sirens, right? Now, imagine you go to this every single day, morning, noon, and night, 24/7. Okay, and they want you to believe that these things doesn't affect the individuals that they're doing this to, right? They don't tell you about how they covert drug you. They don't tell you how they poison your food. All this stuff, right? And they'll look at it and they'll say to you, "Oh, well, we're doing this because he did this or she did this." Okay, they don't tell you about what happened before the covert operation against individuals. Okay, but yet they can get these religious fanatics to be involved. And the sad thing about it too is that they know exactly, particularly us as particularly Negropeans, they know how they condition them. So they know that they are easily manipulated, and they know that by what they do is that they'll give some of these Negropeans the idea or the notion that they have power, particularly those within law enforcement, right? But then we see what happens when these these Negropean police officers abuse their power. And then we see what happens when the white police officers abuse their power against black people. The Negropeans officers, they're arrested right. They are fired, arrested right away. It isn't, oh, hold on, let's put you on desk duty while we do an investigation that will last 2, 3 years, 4 years, and then we'll come back and say, well, the officer was within department policy. They didn't break even though we clearly see that they do. But that's what with the white officers. But with the black officers, their ass, with the Negropean officers, their asses is they're fired and then charged right away. Okay, and you would think these Negropeans would get a wake up call, but no, we see time and time again, right? And then, right, whenever you have a Department of Justice investigation into police departments, what do they do? What do they say? They'll tell you that these police departments, they violate the rights specifically of black and Negropean Americans. consistently using us as a funding source to fund their municipalities, okay, to increase their pay raise. We see this in Ferguson. This is when this whole thing was built with Mike Brown. When the Department of Justice did an investigation into the Ferguson municipal system, they found out that yeah, they were using. But again, it does. I don't. And then the these, and they have black police officers on the force. They act surprised. They act surprised. It's like I'm just like I don't use the N word, but at that point sometimes in my mind I'm like, what? And then they'll hire black Negropean police officers to be now the captain, or a woman to a Negropean woman to be the captain, and these shocking and driving Negropeans is like, well, we're shocked and we're appalled. No, you are part of it. You choose to be. You choose not to say you choose not to see it. You've been programmed not to see it. You've been programmed to think that yeah, you bleed blue. No, you don't. You bleed black, and they've shown you time and time again. Okay. And do you think change because they got a black police, a Negropean police captain? No, it doesn't. We've seen white police officers abuse black people in police departments where the head of the police department is a Negropean, man or woman. And then they're like, well, and then the Negropeans, who's leading the police department now, like, oh well, we need more training, and it's like there's the same talking points that these white racist uh, commanding officers give. That's why I say Negropeans are a danger to black people and other Negropean people, particularly when they're in the position of power. Okay, why more so than white officers? Because they look like us, right? And when we see them, we tend to have more trust in them. Okay, and the thing about it, so they use it. They when police officers, black the Negropean police officers violate the rights of other, they'll say, well, it's not racism because they look like you, but it is racism. It still is racism. They're in a position of authority in a system built to protect and to serve white people, right? And the color of their skin don't mean shit to us because they have the same mindset. Those that have a different mindset, like these, they say, oh, then they always say, oh, it's always a few bad apples. It ain't a few bad apple. Okay, the whole lot is bad. You have a few good officers, right? And those that truly believe in the oath that they take, where they speak up, guess what? Guess what? They become targeted. And one of the first things that they use, right, is the psychiatric labeling. Oh, well, you need to go see someone. You need to go see a psychiatrist. And the very same psychiatrist that they send them to see and speak to is racist. Okay, and then they come back, well, this person is unfit to, I mean, come on, we see the same playbook over and over again, and they still, you know, our brothers and sisters in the Negropean community and those who are on the police force, like, wake up, man, wake up. They lie to us over and over again. And the same thing about it that these Negropean officers who have children, right? And they ride in side by side with these racist police officers, not all of them, white officers, but the majority, they never seem to stop and think, hey, you know what? What if my son was walking down the street, right? At night, maybe chilly, he may have his hoodie on or his jacket, he might have the hood on his jacket. And my partner decide that, because my son has a cell phone in his hand, that's a gun and he's gonna shoot him. They never think about this until it happens to them, right? Then they get beat up, and then it's like, oh, now I see the racism. Now I see the bigotry. And now I see the racism, right? You know. Anyway, again, I'm sorry. It just it's like, so I'm talking about these weapons, right? So anyway, and that psychology is a weapon also. Okay, so so with these diplomats, like I said, and then for the second time, the very own agencies that these people work for and their government threw them under the bus again, just like they did with the Russia um, microwave in the U.S. Embassy, because the technology that they've created and developed is too important, right? It's too important to reveal that yes, the U.S. have these weapons. Now they come out and say, well, it wasn't a foreign entity. It was environmental. Really? Listen, I've been a victim of this, of this program being experimented on with these weapons, illegally microchip, tracked, surveil, everything. Okay, it gets to the point where like I said, and this might sound, but you can't even masturbate in peace. Okay, I haven't had sex in what, 5 years. Okay, and if the once in a while I may masturbate, them motherfuckers, they're right there. Whoop, you know, and it's like, I'm like, come on, you know, it's like they don't want you to have no kind of enjoyment. Once they see you like something, they gotta come in. No, you can't like anything. You can't have any enjoyment, anything. You hear the police sirens again? Whoop, back there. I don't know if you hear it, but they listen. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. The type of mentality I have right now is that I want the same thing done to them. Okay. Like I said, I'm not the turn your other cheek type of nigga peen. I'm not that. Okay. Because guess what? If you do anything to these people, they're not turning the other cheek, but they expect us to turn the other cheek. They try to send you subliminal message about, oh, don't retaliate and this and that. Then it's like, in the beginning, right, when nobody knows, oh, they try to send people around you after they're targeting you to sell you a weapon or to give you a weapon, right? So they can say, oh, look, he's crazy. He just flew off the handle. Lone gunman, lone psychopath, right? Lone, I think it's black people, when we suffer from mental illness, okay, they never take those things into account. Whereas white people suffer from mental illness and they commit a crime or they do whatever. Hey, he's mentally ill. We see the time again. They show it to us. It's in our faces. It's in our faces, but we don't see it. And this is why I try to get people to understand. Not also do these technologies have the ability to condition us when we're sleeping, even when we're to hijack our consciousness when we're awake, right? But the psychological programming bind our mind. It blinds us from the reality and from the truth. And religion is a big part of it. This is why I have to get away from that shit. This is why when I start to realize how religion has negatively affected me, it doesn't matter if you have a good job or if you're not. Religion gives you this ability to say, you know what? Yeah, if I did this, I can get on my knees and I can pray to God and God be forgiven. Right? And then go back the next day repeating the same cycle. It's part of the programming. Right? If religion was such a helpful tool and positive tool for black people, we're the most religious. We should be on top of anybody else. Right? We're God's most faithful people. Right? So come on now. Look at the reality. Look at the truth. All right? Stop being manipulated. We know we've been lied to, but we refuse to accept the truth. Okay? And what this is the look, my son affected by this. Affecting his memory. My daughter also. There's a whole, and I've done shows where I talk about the symptoms and when people have been hit with these weapons, right? And every time I'm raising my finger, my pointing finger, but there's usually since they've been targeting me a lot using this finger, and so I put my ring on this finger. See, okay, there's a reason why I do that. Okay, I'm not going to explain it. They know why. Okay, if you're TI, you've been studying your targeting, you probably know why too, because they probably use the same method to target you. So, if it gives you that ability to where you can use it to help you uh, um, build some sort of, and again, don't fall for their tricks to try to build within you a false sense of confidence. Okay, don't fall for their tricks. Right? Remember, there are two sides of the same coin. Just remember that. Right? It's like with the FBI, they'll come in and they'll say, okay, well, yeah, they'll throw us a bone once in a while. Well, these cops are online talking, negative about black people, about Hispanic people, about Jewish people, what have you. They will always have their martyrs that they can throw under the bus, right? To take our attention away from the vast majority who feel that way. And I say it again, the vast majority who feel that way. Never forget that. If you're a black person, if you're a European person, the vast majority. Okay? And it's not just me saying that because I'm saying it just to say it. It's documented. Right? It's documented. Look at the lies. Oh, um, black women on welfare, they're welfare queens. The vast majority of people on welfare are white people. Right? The second most popular people on welfare is Hispanics. Right? Then black people at 17%. Hispanics 27%. White people almost half. Okay? And the rest is Native Americans, Asians, what have you. That's the truth. The numbers are out there. But what they show you on media and what they propagate negatively is against European men and women and black men and black women. Right? And then we believe the lies, you know, and then we start looking down on each other. White people on welfare, they don't look down on each other because guess what? It is there to support them when in need. Right? They receive more in uh, welfare benefits than black, European, Hispanic people do. Just as with disability, they receive more in disability than everybody else in terms of what they receive monthly. And the little that they give you, they want to take it away, right, and redistribute it back to white people. Again, that's the truth. All right. I mean, like I said, go read the book, How White People Got So Rich. Okay. See, when you read information like that, you start to look at things differently because you understand the truth. You don't have the fake outrage, the lies, unless you just want to be a bigot and a racist, and there's nothing anybody else can do or say, even when the truth is in your face. You want to be just willfully ignorant, right? Just like how a lot of us want to be. Ti's also pushing that whole nonsense about the police not involved, and using religion or what have you. Listen, when I was religious, I was a Ti. When I wasn't religious anymore, I was still a Ti. Religion didn't help me. Religion ain't helping you either, except maybe to give you a placebo effect. Okay. Anyhow, I went off to my rants. Yeah, I'm trying to practice, trying to be more concentrated. It's hard. It really hard. It really is hard. But when you have so much to say, because again, the stuff affects you in such a way, and you become passionate about exposing these people. You can never really just stick to one topic. Okay. uh, but like I said, and they notice it doesn't. But again, it is what they do. And like I said, when you think back before you was a Ti, things that happened to you in the past, you realize that it's not a coincidence. All right, you realize that they do this stuff to put you in these programs, right, and then trying to silence you. Don't be silent. Don't be silent. If they want to threaten you, let them threaten you. Okay, you gotta rise above the paranoid state that they put you in. And the only way you can do that is to try to eat healthy, try to think healthy. Though it's hard, because they're all in your mind. You've been chipped, and so it's very very hard. Like I said, you never get comfortable with it, but it's something that you have to live with until you know they they are exposed in a way in which um, that they will stop. Which it won't happen in our lifetime, but hopefully we can bring enough awareness so people understand what's going on and not be tricked by these dark triad personality types within our government, within law enforcement agencies, within the security agencies, and within corporate also. Okay, so talk to you guys in the next video.